Welcome to the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast, a show dedicated to driving the positive evolution of financial advice, specifically within Southeast Asia. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. Hey everyone, it's another day here in the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast with me, Gwen, and today I am with a particularly amazing financial advisor. He is an award-winning financial advisor from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am with Next Gen Money Coach Kevin Neoh. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Gwen. Thank you for hosting me.
Oh, no problem. This is actually one of the highlights for this quarter's podcast series because I've really wanted to speak with you for a very long time, and so I now have the opportunity as well as the platform to do it. So Kevin is, as I mentioned earlier, is an award-winning financial advisor based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. But aside from that, he's also a really great champion for the XY Advisor and the XY Advisor cause. And you will know that later on as we talk about how Kevin does his practice and like the things that he does in an everyday basis in order to help his clients. So Kevin, just to start off, I know that you've been in the industry for 13 years, for almost 13 years, right? And I actually read like your bio and did a little bit of digging. So, but first, before I get into that nitty gritty stuff, so you've been an advisor since 2008, right?
Yes, you are right. So
Yeah.
time really flies. This year, 2021, will be year 13. Exactly
Yes.
13, yeah.
Yes, lucky number 13. But before you became a financial advisor, you actually studied and got a degree in biochemistry. So, what made you shift from a totally different like career path to becoming a financial advisor?
Well, this is a interesting story, but I guess I'm not the unique person because I do think that there are many other people who actually came across similar journey like mine. So what happened was I was really like without a direction or real goal back then when I was an undergrad. So I just followed whatever is hot at that point of time, which is to involve yourself in a degree in science. And I applied for a degree in biochemistry, which I was lucky enough to be offered that, and I took it. So about 6 months before the graduation, I, like everybody else, I had to start thinking about, oh my God, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And that's the point that it stumbled upon me that I must do something I find meaningful with the rest of my life. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth living at all. So I kind of like searching a little bit, and there was one day I went to a career fair. However, I was during at the career fair there, I was approached by someone who asked me this life-changing question. That is, do you want to understand about financial planning? So this is the catchphrase that got my attention, and because I can actually say that it's the first time I hear this phrase, financial planning, and it also ties back to my childhood and my upbringings. I have to say that I came from a family that we are not rich, but we are not exactly the very poor family. But one thing that stood out is that my family, we don't really have a good awareness as far as financial planning and managing our personal finance is concerned. So I can relate to that. I think this is important. So I did some Google searches back then. It was in 2008. So I found that in other countries, not in Malaysia yet, financial planner, the role is actually very important because we kind of like help people, kind of like the doctor, but we treat money problems, which
Yes.
and money problem does eventually impact other areas of our life. So
Yes.
that makes it very important and very meaningful. And that's when I decided, okay, I want to become a financial planner. So that's
Ah,
how I got into this profession.
amazing. That's actually a very interesting story. And I also can really relate to that. And I know that, like, I think most of the people, financial advisors that I've interviewed, had that similar thing as well, that urge to make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah, I guess so. So, like I say, I'm not the only one
Yeah.
who had gone through this, and I'm glad to know that there are many others who shared the same belief like me. Because this journey is at the beginning, especially, is gonna be a little bit challenging, and because
Mm.
especially at that point of time here, if you want to become a financial planner, there was no clear path for me, and so I went back to the person who asked me this question. So he told me that
Yeah.
there's a few phases of financial planning, and
Mm.
one of it is to protect your wealth. So you should
Mm.
start from the very basic, which is wealth protection. So that was the time that I came to know he was a agency manager from a life insurance company,
Mm.
and he was actually doing his recruitment talk to me when he asked me the question. So from here, because I searched around and I didn't find any way about how to be a financial planner. So I took the leap of
Yeah.
faith. So I
Mm.
thought insurance is quite important as well. In fact,
Mm.
before I met this person, I always thought that life insurance is like a scam. So
Yeah.
that was how immature I am as far as financial literacy is concerned.
Mm.
Yeah, but I let myself to have an open mind, and I went through the exposure, understand a little bit more, and then I think life insurance is actually very important. And if I could stay as a life insurance consultant for a few years, it really means that I'm serious about being a financial planner. So
Mm.
that's when I said, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And yes, I actually agree. When I was young, even my parents would tell me that don't ever get insurance. It's a scam. Like, you can't get any money at the end of it. And that's what we're also trying to change, right? To change
Yeah.
other people's opinion about how insurance work and how important financial planning is, financial literacy. And that's what it got me very interested, Kevin, because it seems like we do have similarities in how the our financial advice system works here in the Philippines and there in Australia as well. I'm sorry, in Malaysia as well. But can you tell me, like, what is the um, like, how do you describe the financial advice structure in your country? Does it start as, do you have to start as being an insurance advisor first?
Maybe I cannot speak on behalf of the whole industry or the whole
Yeah, yeah.
profession, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
share based on what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so over here, to become a financial advisor or a licensed financial planner,
Mm-hmm.
the candidate has to apply the relevant license from our central bank as well as Security Commission of Malaysia. So one of
Mm.
the criteria to apply for the license is that this person must possess a professional qualification, for example, the CFP certification. So this person has to be certified as a CFP holder, then
Mm.
fulfill other conditions like you pass the fit and proper test, and then you don't have money issue yourself, and then you may
Oh.
get approved for the license to practice. So with that license,
Oh.
the candidate can now practice financial planning and offer financial advice through a
Mm.
principal company. All
Mm.
right,
That's
but
interesting.
before we enroll for the CFP course, for example,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
the candidate must also possess experiences in the relevant industry. So, for instance, it
Mm.
can be like as a life insurance consultant, a
Mm.
mutual funds consultant, or you work
Mm.
in a bank. So long it's related to finance, then you can actually enroll for that. You sit for the exams. There are a few modules, and once you pass the modules and you fulfill the requirement to be approved as a certified member by the FPA Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll be granted the CFP certificate.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. So it does have a little bit of similarity here in the Philippines, but I think that your the structure in Malaysia is more controlled because you actually have to practice what you preach. So you have to have like good financial standing, and I don't think that we have that yet. So that's one of the I think, and the reason why I ask you is because I we really want to see like the what are the best practices for each countries, right, and what we can
Mm.
do to improve our own. So that's I think that's very interesting.
In
And
fact, we have to submit our personal credit report,
mm,
our credit repayment history and habit, because and if this person have, for example, have missed payment to
mm,
service his or her loans account in the
yeah.
past, then that will create some hiccup along the journey of getting license.
Ah, interesting. All right. Okay, and you have to maintain that good like financial credibility all throughout your career.
Our licenses require us to renew it every year, and every year
Mm.
we have a checklist that we have to submit for the renewal application.
Ah, I see. I see. So yes, that is actually something that is a really good practice that you have to update like the control group or the control body with
Yes,
the
we call
status.
them regulators.
The regulators, yes.
Yes.
So with regards to the status of like your finances and your especially with how updated you are with the policies in your country as well. All right.
Oh yeah, of course we have to fulfill the continuous professional development CPDs.
Mm. Mm.
This I
Oh
think this
yes,
one is
yes.
a
It's
standard across the world, right?
yeah. Oh, cool. And also because that is a so in Malaysia it is a very controlled career. Are there like a lot of financial advisors that are out there who or like really certified financial advisors out there, or are still is this still like like a niche profession? Like not everyone really has been there for like the long haul.
Okay, maybe the best way to describe this is that this is a sunrise profession, and there's a lot
Mm,
of opportunity as far as having new people joining the profession is concerned.
mm,
So we have two regulators here:
mm,
Bank Negara Malaysia, or we call it Central Bank of Malaysia.
yeah.
This is the body that regulate the license related to financial advisory activity, which is
Mm,
it means the person who has this license is allowed to analyze the financial situation of the other person and provide
mm,
recommendation in respect to insurance is concerned. And then
mm,
the other body is the Security Commission of Malaysia.
mm,
This license allow the person to analyze the financial situation of the other person and provide recommendation and a financial plan with regards to securities like the mutual funds, uh,
yes.
REITs, ETF, other bonds, fixed income
Mm,
instrument.
mm.
So we
Okay.
need to have multiple licenses in order to provide a really full-fledged financial planning service.
Yeah, and that entails you having to go through modules and learning sessions for that one, right? And I know that you also have because you have are a very controlled body or a sector. You also have the Malaysian Financial Planner of the Year awards, and you've won
Yeah.
twice. And now you're in the is that the board or a judge panel?
What I know is that this is an award, actually, how to say, created by
Mm,
the FTA
mm,
Malaysia.
mm-hmm.
And the purpose of this award is to recognize the work of financial planners who really practice financial planning and
Mm,
to construct a real financial plan for a real life client.
mm,
So there's a panel of judges. I think about 5 judges
Mhm.
that actually came from different areas or different region or country around the world. As far as I know, there were judges from Canada, judges from
Oh.
Malaysia,
Mhm.
Australia also, Hong Kong, if not mistaken.
Oh,
So
so they're
so so yeah, about like 2 or 3 years ago, I was lucky enough to be invited to join the panel of judges.
I
So I
see.
just gladly say yes to that.
Yes. All right. And I realize that you're one of those people who are really go-getters. Like, yes, yes to new opportunities. But I'm curious because you won the Malaysian Financial Planner of the Year award twice. How does
Mhm.
one become a Malaysian Financial Planner of the Year awardee? Like, what were your best practices that you think um, have garnered you that award?
It's a very good question to ask, and you got me thinking about that. But I guess to summarize this, I guess the financial planner just have to really preach what they say they do and put the clients at the core of the whole process and treat the client right. And then I
Mhm.
guess eventually your work will be recognized, and then you will eventually receive some applaud from your peers and
Mm,
even from other people. I guess it will naturally comes to you.
right.
So
And
so how the award work is that
mm,
we were required to submit a plan that we done for a real life clients. Of course, we had to ask the
oh,
clients if they agreed for us to submit the plan,
to disclose,
and
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, and of course we do. We track we redact their names and their
Yeah.
sensitive information.
Hmm.
So the judges will go through the plan. They will also discuss about whether the plans did address the issue, the objective and the goals of the client, and then
Hmm.
they will go through different area. For instance, retirement planning, tax planning, estate planning, and they will give points or marks according to how they think the
Hmm.
planners have done in the plan that address these different respective areas in the plan. So
Mm.
I think eventually the person with the highest marks on average will be the winner, and then subsequently
Hmm.
the runner up and second runner up.
Right. And that is basing from the judges that have come from all around the world as well, because I initially thought that the panel is just like all of them are Malaysians, so they're really from other countries that had background in different types of financial planning based in their country.
Yes, you're right, and this is also one of the key points that actually help us to grow, because by getting feedback from judges who are from different background,
Yeah.
different different how to say different experiences and
Hmm.
cultures, it
Hmm.
allows us to have different perspective, and then we would think about how can I incorporate this suggestion into my process, how to improve
Hmm.
on the plans, and eventually this is I think how we can improve. The profession has to improve from incorporating good ideas from around the world.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, right? And I think that we can really learn a lot from other countries as well, especially the progressive ones and the ones that already had the financial advice industry in place for a much longer time
Mm,
than we have. And so from being the Malaysian Financial Planner of the Year award, I know that this is also because you have called yourself a life-centered financial planner. Now, why do you call yourself a life-centered financial planner? Because this is actually the first time that I've heard someone coin themselves that. So, why do you call yourself that?
okay, actually, the term life center financial planner,
Mm,
I have to say that it has no relationship with the awards. I came across
mm.
this term, if I'm not mistaken, it would be in the year of 2020. It's
Ah, this is a
actually
new one. Yes. Mm.
Yes, it's actually from these two person, Mitch Anthony in the US and Paul
Mm.
Armson in the UK. They are the two person who really started an evolution of life-centered financial planning,
Oh.
and I came across this concept, and I I have to say that even though I just came across this term last year, in a
Mm,
way, the process that I gone through with the clients
mm,
it somehow is a little bit in the same direction, because I believe that we do all the planning is for the client, and therefore the plan must actually recognize that the main character is the clients, it's not their money.
mm,
And so that's how I work with the clients, is to discuss a lot more on their concerns, their fear, their
mm,
aspirations, and also their personal values, what's important to them, and if there's
mm,
anything in their life that they would like to change or improve
mm.
today, not like wait until they retire 20 years
Yeah.
from now.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So that's when I came across this term, and I realized that actually in around the world there are a lot of practitioners who are
mm,
actually adopting the life-centered approach to financial
mm.
planning, and that's how I started to describe myself as such as well.
All right, right. So that's I'm really very interested in this conversation because I didn't know that there were a lot of people now who are practicing life-centered financial planning, and that's I think I really need to Google that.
I
But
think last year they did came up with a very important book. It's the title of the book is Life-Centered Financial Planning: How to
mm,
Deliver Value That Will Never Be Undervalued.
that's a good title. And
It's
so
very
you've been
catchy, isn't it?
practicing it. Yes, it is. It is. And I think it would be a very good read. I think I would be, picking up that book soon. And because you've adapted the life centered financial planning concept, do you still have like a particular demographic for your client base, or are you open to all like generations?
I found myself typically working with clients who are from the age band of like 30 to 40
Mm,
years old.
mm,
And apparently, most of them are also working professional.
mm,
And a majority of them are also parents with children.
okay. So like us, I guess.
Yeah, just like myself. Right? So I find that it's easier for me to relate to the clients.
Yes, I guess yes, that's what I was thinking. Because it's easier for us to relate to them because we're also in that age group, in the
Mm-hmm.
same like situation that we have kids and all that stuff. But so that's how you did. Is that how you were able to niche on that particular client base? Did you really think that through, or did it just happen that like most of the clients that you've attracted are on like on your in their 30s 40s working professionals?
Initially, I hit a lot of walls. I,
Mm,
because it's new, and I didn't really have a mentor to guide me. So I tried
mm,
multiple things multiple times, and then I realized that it's good to try and hit walls sometimes. Anyway,
yes.
yeah, if we never try to hit some walls, we'll never find new approaches or new ways to do things right. So what happened
Yeah.
was, when I first got licensed, I was very excited. So
Yeah,
I
of
talked
course.
to
Yes.
anyone about financial planning, and eventually
Mm,
I realized that you cannot talk to anyone, because sometimes you speak to the wrong
mm,
person about financial planning. If this person
yes.
is not, they do not need this, or they do not
Mm,
have a need to even talk about this, then we
mm.
will put ourselves in a very disappointing scenario all the time.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so I think it's fair that I had to try to ask myself, who will be people or person who will actually appreciate having a conversation about financial planning. And
Mm,
I realized that maybe it's easier if I speak to people who are about my same age group, because
mm.
one thing is, at least I know what they don't like. And then I
Yes.
will also be able to relate more to what kind of struggle they may face, and what are
Mm,
the things that they want to do. So I guess the conversation would be easier. So that's how
mm.
I started to think about that. And then of course, we have to also do some marketing effort, right, to attract people, to let people
Yes.
know that,
Yes.
hey, this person called Kevin exists and this is what he does. So that's what I tried to do back then. I actually wrote an emails to some magazines, some publication to introduce
Mm.
myself.
Ah,
And that's
yes.
how I got some opportunity to answer some question from their readers, and from there it
Mm.
just things just happened by itself. And then I started to have some more platforms to share
Share,
about my
yes.
philosophy, about
Mm.
what I think about knowledges on personal finance. And that's how I guess people potential clients started to come making their inquiries.
Right. So way to go on getting that initiative to really contact magazines, and that really worked out for you. And I think that's a really good way to put yourself out there, right? And which is actually a really good segue for my next question, because what I really love about you and how you manage your practice is that you love putting content out there. You've got a blog, you constantly post in social media, and now recently you have a podcast. So how has creating all of these like content and putting them out there, how has that helped you grow your business, especially now during the pandemic period?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking me that, Gwen.
Yeah, sure.
As far as creating contents is concerned, I have to say that I enjoy doing this, not because I have too much time, but simply because I believe that the people in my country, especially,
Mm,
the level of financial literacy, we still have a huge room for improvement.
mm,
So we need someone who really wants to share something. And since I have learned all this, and I'm in the business of doing financial planning, so
yeah.
if I could, why not I share what I know? At least I may be able to help people to make a more sensible decision with their money, and
Mm.
also potentially help them to avoid making some expensive
Mistakes. Yeah. Mm.
mistakes.
Lessons. Yes.
Yeah,
Actually, lessons is a better word.
yeah. So to help them to avoid some expensive lessons, because
Mm.
I believe that we all have a life that is finite, but
Yes.
our so that means every second and every hour of our life is very valuable. But if we make some we travel towards certain direction and eventually only realize we have not been on the right track, then we
Mm.
have wasted a lot of time, and sometimes we cannot even really make a reverse turn, because
Mm.
we
Yes.
don't really know how much time we have left in ourselves. So that's one of the motivation that I thought is, if I have been given this opportunity, why not I just share
Mm.
what I know. So I share about topics like about life insurance, about medical
Mm.
insurance, about diversification in investment, about spend within your means, save first,
Mm.
pay yourself first. So I share all these contents, and eventually I realized that not everyone likes to read, and sometimes
Mm.
people read the beginning and they may have
Yes.
missed out important disclaimer or
Yeah.
important contents at the end of the article. So
Yeah.
maybe we should also try other approaches. So that's how like video comes into the picture, especially during the pandemic.
Mm.
We have not been able to see each other, so having the
Yes.
video
Yes.
presence, I reckon, is quite important and also interesting, because it allows us to feel a little bit like closer to each other.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely. Um, and that's why you got into making and creating videos, because you do post videos on your social media. And I definitely agree that especially during the pandemic, video has been such a crucial way for us to feel like we're closer to another person, because nothing beats like looking
Yeah.
um looking at a person, and I guess because it's easier to consume video now, right?
Mm,
Then I know that definitely some people prefer just watching someone rather than like reading an article. Like it just evolved. So the evolution of social media and how we consume information has changed as well. Now, and because you're busy, like how do you find the time to like create the content and then actually like do the video or write up a vlog? Like how do you manage your time on that? Do you block like 1 or 2 hours or a day, or do you have like one whole day of just creating your social media content? Like how do you manage that?
I didn't really plan or structure it that way.
Mm.
As far as posting into social media is concerned, it's actually a little bit like ad hoc.
Ah.
Sometimes idea just flash by, or sometimes something just happened during the day, and then I
Mm.
just thought in the way that relate it to financial planning or personal finance, and
Mm.
I just created some posting. And from there, in some topic may be expanded into like, if it's worth talking more, then maybe it can
Mm.
actually become an article and also become a video and etc.
All right. So I like that approach, a very organic one. So whatever you think about that, oh, this is good, and especially if that particular post or particular comment or video gets a lot of views, then I guess it's something that you want to delve more deeper into, and that becomes an article for your blog. All right.
Yep.
Now, because you've been very busy for because I know you from last year when you started in XY Advisor, and you've been very busy. You've been very active and posting all this social media content. And I know you have like work and working with clients. Aside from that, so what are your plans for your business this year, 2021?
Wow, thank you for asking such a big question. Luckily for me,
Yeah.
I have some answers for that.
Yes.
We're really in the
Cool.
planning business, right?
Yes,
So what
definitely.
happened? What happened was actually the pandemic has actually also shown me, have helped me to think of things in another perspective, in which
Mm,
I noticed that a lot of people they are actually quite fragile as far as their money management is concerned, and this
yes.
whole pandemic actually revealed a lot of potential time bomb that people are carrying around.
Mm,
And what I noticed is that maybe it would be quite meaningful and
mm,
also spiritually satisfying for me to, if
mm,
I were able to help people who have not been able to save money or have been having trouble with managing their cash flow, to see
mm,
improvement. So moving forward, I would like to consciously introduce the coaching element into my service and help people to be
mm,
more accountable into their goals and also how they manage their money and live their life. So that's
mm.
one of the major direction that I want to focus in.
Oh, that's very nice. And I really think that more people should try to do that. Especially like, is that something that's a more common practice in Malaysia, or do you know a lot of people who are already doing that as well?
Maybe some of us we have been doing this like
Mm.
not consciously, but also
Ah, yeah.
a very few people that whom I know, peers, peers that I know, they are actually providing this kind of service, but it's not really like we have an additional item in our service menu that says financial coaching.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I think no one really offers that yet. So that's how I try
Mm,
to incorporate this, and also largely because in our country,
mhm,
financial planning services you can actually largely break it down to three practice model, which is
mm.
commission only, fee based, and fee only.
Ah,
And
yes,
the,
yes.
the the idea that I have for my coaching service is that I would like it to be a flat fee model if it's that's what
Mm.
I'm working towards too.
All right, all right. So, yes, I definitely more power to you on that, and I hope that it works well. I'm actually excited to interview you in the future to see how that new business model that you're trying to integrate has been working for you. So I hope that I can invite you again soon here in the podcast.
Sure, sure. But if I may, I can actually share with you that I wrote this out late last year, and I'm just seeing some good momentum in that. I actually
Nice.
have a name for the program also. It's called Money Transformation Program. The whole idea
Ah,
is to transform the relationship we have with our money
money.
so that we
Yes.
can, yeah, really be the master instead of being mastered by it.
Yes, being the slaves or of our
Yeah.
own money, because it's not supposed to be that way. And that's really good, because I think that it's the same here in the Philippines. We already have this mentality that we have let money control us, with how we think and how we even run our day,
Mm,
how we work, right? So it would be really refreshing to learn that it shouldn't be the case at all. We can still be happy and
yes.
at the same time be financially stable without having to like work very long hours and be very unhappy for a certain period of time before we can like reap the fruits of our labor, just with the right type of financial planning. All right. Now
Nice,
I
nicely
don't
said.
want to keep you. Yes, thank you. And I don't want to keep you in the for long. I know I promised this to be a not so long podcast. So my last question for you, Kevin, is that I'd like to know what are the best lessons that you've learned from working in this industry for more than a decade, so that our fellow listeners, because I also want to target new and upcoming financial advisors to come and join the bandwagon of ethical financial planning. So, what are those best practices that maybe that you can share with us?
Maybe the biggest one I would say is I would suggest is sometimes we have to trust our own instinct, and we must
Mm,
understand what we want from our own professional career. Do not
mm,
just listen to people who tell you what you should do, but
yeah.
instead put more effort, put more energy to think about what you really want for yourself, and then
Mm,
you just make sure if there's any challenges, think towards the more constructive spectrum, find ways
mm.
to minimize or remove the barriers instead of letting those barriers and challenges become the reason that we have to change our direction or to not
Mm.
proceed to move forward.
Wow, such excellent advice. And I'm sure that a lot of financial advisors out there, even the seasoned ones, would benefit from that. So thank you so much, Kevin. I've actually learned a lot. I know I have to Google a lot of things now. So thank you so much for being on the show. And I hope to chat with you really soon and to check base on how your money transformation has gone after, like, let's say by next year. Why don't we do
Sure,
that?
sure,
All
sure.
right. Okay, thank you so much,
Thank you
Kevin.
for hosting me again, Gwen.
No problem. It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. You have a good one.
Same to you. Take care and be safe.
Thank you. You too, Kevin. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.